Hey everyone, welcome to Locked On Lakers for Monday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers opened the regular season on Tuesday. Is Gabe Vincent going to be the fifth guy in the Lakers starting lineup? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how, where you get your podcasts. This one's always going to be free, never behind paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube. We can go hang out with over 36,000 subscribers, Andy, all of whom are they're this close to getting themselves to the regular season. We do appreciate all the subscribers there, subscribers to the audio product, which of course you can get through Apple iTunes, through Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find Locked On Lakers. So a lot to get ready for, including the question of whether or not DeAndre Ayton is one of the five most critical sort of X factors in the NBA this year. That is something that was written about this weekend that we will talk about as well. But first, Andy, the most pressing priority for the Lakers is who's going to take the floor and start on Tuesday in the opener of the season against the Golden State Warriors at the Crypt. I think it's fair to say that JJ Redick in the final preseason game threw folks a curveball by putting Gabe Vincent in the starting lineup when most people, I think, expected it would be either Jarred Vanderbilt or Marcus Smart.
I was surprised. I know you were surprised. I know most people that cover the team were surprised, and I could tell based on the reaction of fans that either we saw in the chat from Friday's mini reaction show or people hitting us up on Twitter at Cam Brothers. Not a lot of people saw it coming. It's one of those decisions where on paper, just sort of in a vacuum and in the specific context of this preseason, it makes some sense. Like, I want to just lay out from the beginning that it should be noted, Gabe Vincent's had a terrific preseason. Mm-hmm. He has played really, really well, including, by the way, Friday against the Kings when he started. He has continued what's been a very, very good shooting preseason. He was not especially effective defensively, but he had a lot of company in that game and frankly throughout the entire preseason, which we'll get into. But between the way Gabe has been shooting, and in particular from behind the arc in the preseason, the determination, if nothing else, that he will play with defensively, and the idea that he is accountable and attentive on that side of the floor, and the fact that JJ has just made it very clear he loves what Gabe brings as a professional. Mm-hmm. All of this makes sense so I want to make it clear, unlike, say, benching the entire second unit for the second half of Game 4 in the playoffs.
We don't even have to explain it. We just call it Game 4.
Right. Or, Maxi Kleber down the stretch in his first game as a Laker in, Game 5 of an elimination game. I don't consider this, if this is ultimately what JJ does, galaxy brain thinking like that other stuff. But as we will explain, I have a lot of reservations.
It's an interesting thing. I want to get into it for a bunch of reasons. Obviously, who starts is important. I do want to let people know. First, though, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. And I will say, there is a section of sort of the Lakers social sphere, whether you're talking commentators, like people like to complain. And I think there is an element of this.
For some people, it's a cottage industry.
Yes. And I don't actually consider us to be complainers. I actually think I try hard not to, because I always like to kind of give like the people who are doing this for a living a little bit of benefit of the doubt and work my way towards my decision. Really think about these things. If I disagree with them, to see if I'm on like good footing here. And on this one, I mean, obviously you can make arguments for, I think, 3.5 players here. And I think the expectation was obviously, like I said, Vanderbilt or Smart. I said 3.5 because I can see by your face there are at least some people who were like, maybe you could stick LaRavia in there.
Okay, well, it just wasn't clear what the hell you were talking about, but now it is.
We'll get to it. I was, I figure we get to it. Like the half player that I don't think anybody really bought that was like maybe you would decide to start LaRavia so you stay a little bigger or whatever it might be.
Okay, sure. Now, now I understand.
I look at Vincent, and what I am most struck by is the realization that the three main guys you'd choose from, Vanderbilt, Smart, Vincent, there isn't a cut and dried, to me at least, correct answer. There are flaws in all three options that you could choose here. And there's sort of like a waterfall effect that goes down depending on who you pick for some of these individual things. With Vanderbilt, it is spacing. And I think there actually are some defensive assignments that he struggled with. He's not one of the best guys they have on the floor chasing through screens and things like that. So if you want to do less switching, you got to have a guy who's, working through and working around and doing all that really well. Smart, I wonder if he is quite healthy enough to play sort of people would consider starters minutes. And then with Vincent, he's like not quite as, first of all, he's smaller, which I think makes a difference.
Yeah.
He's not as good overall a defender as either one of the other two. He's not, I don't think he's as good at his best things as either one of those guys are at theirs. But what he is good at is sort of like not really bad at any of the stuff they would need him to do. He's just a little smaller. And so if you wanted a bigger lineup, he's a better spacer than I think either of the other options in terms of certainly the way he's shooting right now.
Shooting the way we'll get into that. The way he is shooting right now feels quite unsustainable.
It's also always front loaded. Like he makes his first 8 shots and then we'll see. Well, but happens.
Also just moving.
No, go ahead. I mean, because we'll break into all the different reasons that I think it makes at least some sense.
Sure.
To start, I'm clearly less averse to it than other people seem to be.
Right. Like, again, a lot of it makes sense on paper, and I don't think it is like a ridiculous decision. It's just not the one I would make, and it feels like the potential issues are very much front and center and feel kind of predictable. Like you were talking about the way Gabe is shooting right now. He is shooting, I believe, 45% from behind the arc in preseason, which would be amazing. 55%. That's not going to sustain itself. I mean, like he's not going to be shooting at a level that like Steph has never managed. And point of fact, like he is a 35%. His career 3-point shooting is around 34%. He's about 35% last season with the Lakers. It's like not terrible, but not great.
Not either. A traditional floor spacer.
His best full regular season from behind the arc is 37%, which is like good, not great. Best in the playoffs ever. Looking ahead to that 2023, really this season that got Gabe paid by the Lakers, 38%, which is again, it's good. It's definitely a good 3-point percentage, but it's not at the level of what we're seeing right now. And in the meantime, Gabe has never shot even 42% from the field overall. Like he has always been extremely inefficient from inside the arc. And it just feels like what we are seeing in the preseason, while great, and if nothing else, he does legitimately give me optimism that Gabe could have a good season. I'm just not sure this is the best use of him compared to some of the other options.
I look at it this way, and we'll carry this through because, like I said, I think it's one of these deals where you look at it and you see Vincent as sort of higher floor in a few different places, like in a few different categories that I think they're looking at not just Vincent in a vacuum, but also how he fits with the rest of the whole. So let's do that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton, shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. It's training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, reach peak performance. The Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks reps, suggests the right weights, corrects your forms, makes every rep safer and smarter. The personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. They get workouts tailored to your vibe and the energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com.
Locked on Lakers is also brought to you by Monarch Money. I think most people understand that you really have to keep track of your money. You have, but like, how is the question? Most of us, we don't know how to keep track. We aren't able to name all our accounts. We're not able to name all the things we might have recurring payments are. We can't exactly identify each of our investments. Like, what are, if we have like a 401k and it's done through our work or something like that, what is that actually invested in? What is inside that fund? Like, all of these things have a huge impact on what your retirement's going to look like, what you're able to, spend your money on, what you're able to invest in, all that kind of stuff. You have to be able to see it. And that's what Monarch Money does. It provides you a dashboard, a really high visibility opportunity to know exactly where all your money is, where your investments are, where your spending is, what you're spending, things that you may not even realize that you're spending your money on. You can't fix what you can't see. You can't monitor what you don't know about. And so that's what I think the greatest value of Monarch Money is. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. One thing that I think, Andy, is worth discussing here before we even move on. I don't think anything that I expect that Gabe Vincent will start on Tuesday. JJ seemed to indicate that, was certainly a strong possibility. He also indicated, and I believe him, I do not think it was coach speak, that everything after Tuesday is still kind of up in the air. And I don't think that, Gabe Vincent starting this game, this season opener, means that he is the starter until LeBron James is back on the floor.
Well, he might be, because depending on
I'm not saying but I'm just saying I don't think that's what this means automatically.
Well, it doesn't mean it automatically, but I am inclined to think that if JJ put Gabe into this, I guess there's two ways of looking at it. I suppose he could be seeing Gabe Vincent's offensive output in this preseason, which has been very prolific, if, again, I don't think sustainable, but it has been very impressive. He could see it as an extension of the offense that he may, and I think understandably, think is going to be the best strength of this team. So he's trying to lean into its strengths. So this could be, in JJ's mind, just as much an extension of leaning into the offense that would be there if you started the Lakers' best five players: Luka, LeBron, Austin, Rui, Ayton, which is the team that a look that has obviously some defensive questions, but could be a bleep to guard. He could also, though, I guess, see Gabe as an attempt at trying to bring some degree of defensive balance to the starting five, which would mean when LeBron returns, he could be returning for Rui as opposed to Gabe.
Possible. I think you're kind of getting to what my thinking about this is like, he's not ideal, but like if you want some spacing, he gives you a little bit of that. There's certainly no worse than the other guys. And, definitely better than Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
If you want defense, okay, he's not as good as those guys, but he's not bad. You know exactly what you're getting. He understands what he's being asked to do, and understands the system, understands the assignment. I think I get the impression, at least, that they feel that in terms of allowing Ayton to play in a way that's comfortable to him and, do these drop coverages and things like that, that at the very least, Gabe fits that. Is he better than Smart, better than Ayton or Vanderbilt?
Vando.
Yeah, I hesitate to say, and because I honestly be speaking a little bit out of turn. Some of these stuff it's pretty technical. You get some of the secondary ball handling that you get with Smart in terms of being able to operate an offense. Smart, as he showed in the preseason finale in the second half, when he got a little aggressive, he's actually like got a little pop, and there's a little more to it than what Gabe does. So like, I just feel like there's like a little bit of everything. And so that to me is what I think part of the appeal is here. I also think that the real test to me becomes, if we get through the first 2.5 weeks of the season, 2 weeks of the season, week and a half of the season, whatever it is, Marcus Smart has had no setbacks, has built himself all the way back up, and looks fully capable of playing 25 to 30 minutes a night, and he isn't, then I think you can start asking more questions.
Look, that may be the case, but Smart or Vando, the two guys that we both expected to be this choice.
Right. My personal, I would start, assuming everyone is healthy,
sure,
able to do what I would start Marcus Smart.
Okay.
That would be my choice.
I would start Vando. That would be my choice, but neither one of us would start Gabe as our first choice.
Correct.
My concern with Gabe, I understand the idea that he does know what he's supposed to be doing out there. He will always play at 100% effort. He does provide some foot speed that there is not a lot of on this team. I mean, even if you're including
on the perimeter in terms of like being able to guard on the perimeter.
Yeah, exactly. Like even if you're including Vando, like there aren't many guys like that on this team. So again, a lot of this makes sense just in a vacuum without full context. I have a lot of concerns though, and we've seen this the last couple seasons with Gabe. His size becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. And if he's out there to be, if not a defensive specialist, certainly somebody that addresses defensive issues, I think he's just too often, too easily taken advantage of because of that size. It's through no lack of effort or determination on his side. Dude will fight his ass off. But there are times where that fight simply just isn't enough because he's giving up too much height, too much weight, too much bulk. And there's another piece of it, the trickle-down effect. In a perfect world, to me, the biggest reasons that you would try to have Smart and Vando on this team is to spread out a lot of the versatility that they have defensively, and in particular, the stuff that this roster does not have a lot of in terms of those assignments guarding along the perimeter. If you don't start either one of them, that means you're left with both of them potentially on the floor at the same time more often. And some of the concerns you would have about them offensively, spacing, whatnot, become exacerbated with them together. So I think you may be setting up, I don't know if JJ's looking for maybe another round 2 of Luka and the Banshees, but I feel like you're setting up some of the exact same problems that seem to upset JJ over the course of the playoffs. It feels like he's setting up the thing that he didn't like to begin with.
I think that regardless of what they do, is I think if Gabe starts, it will be starting with a quick sub. Like, I don't think he's going to play 9 minutes, And so I think some of that, but I agree with you. And it is it is more complicated, I think, to play. I think it makes sense to try to stagger Smart and Vando. Maybe not all the time, but some of the time. And you can do that in this arrangement. It's just a little more complicated. And it also depends on obviously who they're going to play with and all these other things. I'm
keeping an open mind. I'm keeping an open mind.
Yeah, the size thing is interesting to me because I think it gives people the perception that the Lakers are playing small when they're not.
Sure.
Because what you would really be doing if you would be playing Vando, for example, it's not that you're playing small with Gabe as your starting guard. You're playing big with Vando if you start him. And then the smallest guy on the floor for you is Austin Reeves at 6'5". And I kind of like that.
Yep, so do I.
Marcus
Smart plays bigger.
I was about to say Marcus Smart isn't 6'7" or 6'8", but he plays bigger as a defender. And so I think that aspect, that's kind of the stuff that I like about it. But I do think it's important to point out the Lakers are not playing small with Gabe. It's a very conventionally laid out lineup where you have a 7-footer in the middle and you've got a 6'8" guy, or Rui 6'8", correct? I think, yeah. And then another, Luka at 6'6", and then Reeves at 6'5", and then Vincent at, 5'8", whatever lie he tells people at the beginning of every year.
I think he's listed at 6'3". Gabe
I think 6'3". I think he's probably closer to 6'2".
Rounding up.
I mean, I'd like to see him and Bronny standing next to each other.
Yeah. I do think he is taller than Bronny.
He is, but Bronny's very short by NBA standards. Bronny's not much taller than us.
No.
For the record, you probably can't tell because you only know what the top quarter of our bodies look like. We're not tall.
Well,
we're not.
No.
I like the idea of them playing a little bit bigger. I like the idea of them playing somebody on the floor who is more of a defensive stopper type thing. And I do think over time this will become something that Marcus Smart does. But we'll see. I mean, somebody left the comment, and I can't scroll back up, that the way that Smart plays at the energy and intensity. The energy intensity of Jarred Vanderbilt, you finally get these guys back on the floor. I think there probably is a concern about overloading them and finding yourself without their services because they're broken again. I do think there is an element of that when they think about Vanderbilt, especially, and then also Smart. So think about that, and we will come back and talk a little bit more about health, finish this starting lineup thing, and whether or not Jackson Hayes is going to play for Slovenia. That's all next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season, it is in full swing. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for a kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love that FanDuel fits however you want to bet, whether you're talking player props, building a same-game parlay, even jumping in live as the action unfolds. If you're someone who has a feel for how the game is going to shake out, you can get ahead of those results with a little wager. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching the team that you root for IRL or just keeping an eye on that fantasy lineup. So, you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Locked on Lakers is also brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games, but let's be real, getting tickets can be a challenge, especially if you're trying to get into the crypt to see the perennially sold out Los Angeles Lakers. So between waiting in queues, any surprise fees, prices, difficulty getting the tickets, everything that happens in that process, it's easy to get frustrated when really all you want to do is get in the building and watch your team play. And this is where Game Time comes in. It's the app that gives fans the advantage. It is an ultimate hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets for the games that you want to see. And it really is genuinely stress-free. I use Game Time a lot. My kids are soccer fans, so we go to the LAFC games. We've gone to Galaxy, we've gone to Angel City, and every time we do it through Game Time, whether we're buying tickets way far ahead, same day, trying to just grab a good bargain and then head out to watch the games. We do it with Game Time. We see exactly what we're going to pay. There are no hidden fees at checkout. We can get a seat view to know exactly what the view of the floor, the field, whatever it is going to look like before we go. And that is really what makes this so much fun to use. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. So I don't, do you agree there's really no other candidate that kind of makes sense here other than these three, right? Is there somebody we're missing?
No.
Something?
No.
Yeah. And it does to me also kind of reinforce that, the Lakers, when you take LeBron out of the lineup, it just creates significant holes, which is what you would expect when you remove a second team all NBA performer.
Some top drawer analysis for you right there.
I say this in the sense it's there is this, I get it. Yes. I mean, it's problematic if Luka's not in the lineup too. Hot take. But we have spent so much of the summer talking about the future of LeBron and the Lakers are gonna be better off without him. Should they move on? Would they be better if he retired or asked out for a trade or with all these other things? And too much of that conversation, I think, not necessarily here, but broadly forgets what happens if LeBron isn't playing, you have to replace LeBron part of it. And this is what the Lakers are looking at now. The roster is just so different. I think they're not in bad shape to make it through, especially if Luka is going to be playing like he did in Slovenia, looking like he did a couple years ago. 2 years ago, Luka was 33, 10, and 10. That'll get you that covers a lot of sins. But it is an imperfect setup until LeBron comes back.
Yeah.
And if you start Vando, there are downsides to that. If you start Smart, there could be downsides to that. And then we've discussed the ones with Vincent. There isn't a perfect option here.
No, there's definitely not a perfect option. I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of what do I think is trying to be accomplished most with whatever choice. And I'm not sure that Gabe accomplishes as much of, if nothing else, what I would look to accomplish with whoever I chose. Again, acknowledging Gabe has played very well during the preseason. So I understand why JJ went here. I don't agree with it thus far, but I am open to having my mind changed. But either way, I'm not being super critical of this as much as I'm just disagreeing with it because, again, I get it.
Let's get to some injury news. Everybody who the Lakers would expect to be available on Tuesday in the rotation will be. Jackson Hayes, who left that final preseason game with a wrist contusion, he said, JJ said, everybody said he's going to be ready to go on Tuesday. So the Lakers will have their rotation available to them. Adu Thiero isn't ready to go yet. He's still a couple weeks away from being evaluated. Bronny was getting over that sprained ankle, but neither of those guys are expected to be part of your rotation. Of the, I guess we'll call it 9 guys that you can reliably say will be, those guys are all going to be able to play on Tuesday. So that's good news for the Lakers.
Yeah, absolutely. And this Golden State team, I am not as high on as at least I've seen some of the consensus around the league. So We'll see how they look. They've had some guys in and out of the lineup themselves. I don't think they're entirely at full strength. Or Jimmy Butler may be available I don't know off the top of my head, but I know he's been dealing with stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that this is, if nothing else, an interesting test for the Lakers on Tuesday, because the Warriors are a team that is, I think, broadly seen as on the same tier as the Lakers in the Western Conference.
And I mean, it's funny. Like I posted this on Twitter. I was at the Grove, the shopping center in LA that many people who live here know about. And I was coming down the escalator, and the opening night, Peacock, whatever, and it was like Steph on one side, LeBron on the other. And I was like, oh, they need to update their sign. And I happened to be back like 2 days later. And in fact, it was Steph on one side and Luka on the other. But it's disappointing you can't see the LeBron thing, because I think if you're looking for reasons to be skeptical of both teams, it's because you're not really sure if some of the important players are going to make it through the year. That Warriors group post Jimmy Butler trade was phenomenal when everybody played. But do we trust Jimmy? Do we trust Steph? Do you trust Draymond? Called him Graymond, which actually makes sense.
Oh, he's a literal graybeard.
He's a graybeard now. So, like
Al Horford.
Yes, I believe that they are better as a team than you do, but I wonder if they have a limit on their upside, because so many, if you think like the Lakers being too old is essentially just LeBron. With the Warriors, it's like basically every important player they have. Except for Pajemski, who had a kind of a low-key bad year last year.
Well, I mean, even one of their relatively younger acquisitions, D'Anthony Melton, he's recovering from what is it? ACL. I don't think he's ready yet.
Or some sort of CL.
Right. I mean, I don't think he's ready yet. And he I don't think played at all during the preseason.
He definitely did not.
He was not playing against the Lakers. So,
and they're young. Their best truly young player. Everybody wants them to leave. So he doesn't want to be there. And the Warriors have tried to move him for the last 2 years. So
the Jonathan Kuminga thing is a mess.
It is. So that's what makes this tier of teams kind of fascinating. It's just so much of this is going to be look at the Dodgers, injury after injury after injury, and this guy's underperforming and that guy's underperforming. But the talent level, when it lined up, and it's lining up right now, they've lost one game in the postseason. It's oh, okay. The Warriors could be a little bit like that. But is it going to work all season? I don't know. But if it works at the right time, they could be really dangerous. The Lakers are going to be tough starting off. It's going to be difficult without LeBron. But if LeBron and Luka and everybody's healthy going into the playoffs, and Luka's playing that's a dangerous team. Absolutely.
I don't think anyone's going to want to play him at the very least. It'll be. There's a lot of and this actually applies to the Warriors too. And you and I saw this with Kobe, even post Achilles. When the institutional memory forms of a player being awesome, the psychology never goes away. I mean, we would see Kobe still draw doubles post Achilles, and we're like, why? Why are you doing this? He is, he's Kobe Bryant. He's one of the
not post Achilles, post Achilles, post knee that followed,
right.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, Kobe is one of the greatest players to ever pick up a basketball. He's honestly one of the greatest athletes of the last 50-ish years. Yeah. But that version of Kobe was not somebody that required a double, but you automatically do it because he's Kobe. And LeBron or Steph, it does not matter their age. Nope. If you have to see them in the playoffs, you're not going to, the idea of it, you will not like. Even if there are, and both of them are still playing at a high level, but even if you see signs of them really slowing down, it won't matter because of who they are.
We didn't get to it, but Jackson Hayes, you may be reading, is dead serious apparently about trying to go play basketball for Slovenia. If you're wondering if Jackson Hayes is Slovenian, he is not. But that can be worked around. But he had some interesting comments about why he's doing it and why, as opposed to Team USA, he's looking at Team Slovenia. So we will mention that tomorrow. Obviously, get you ready for the opener with any additional news, whether from the Lakers side or the Warriors side. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 36,000 subscribers to the channel. We will see everyone tomorrow.